In the mystical realm of Ianera, a land of breathtaking mountains, endless seas, and enchanted forests, balance was the essence of life. This harmony was maintained by the Ethereal Core, a luminous artifact protected by ancient beings known as the Guardians of Virtue. Each guardian represented a human trait, some virtuous, like bravery and compassion, and others more challenging, like greed and fear. Together, they ensured balance between the virtues and vices of the world. One fateful day, the rulers of Ianera, driven by ambition and greed, sought to control the power of the core. Their selfish actions shattered the artifact, scattering its fragments across the land and plunging the world into chaos. Crops withered, rivers dried, and an air of despair hung heavy over Ianera. The guardians withdrew into their shrines, awaiting the one who would restore balance. Years later, a young cartographer named Lian lived in a quiet village on the edge of the ashen forest. Lian was known for his curiosity and love for maps, but he struggled with self-doubt, often questioning his worth. One day, while charting unexplored regions, he discovered an ancient, glowing compass buried beneath the roots of a tree. The compass pulsed with energy and seemed to pull him toward an uncharted destination. Elder Mira, the village storyteller, revealed its purpose. "This is the compass of virtue," she said. "It guides the bearer to the guardians. They test those who seek the fragments of the ethereal core. Only someone pure of heart, willing to confront their flaws, can restore balance to Ianera." Despite his fears, Lian felt a deep calling. He set out on the journey, guided by the compass, determined to prove himself worthy of this task. The Shrine of Greed. The first shrine lay within a golden desert, its entrance guarded by the shimmering guardian of greed, a serpentine figure with scales that sparkled like treasure. Its voice was alluring, promising riches and power beyond imagination. Lian stepped forward. "I seek the fragment of the core." The guardian hissed. "Prove you can resist what you most desire. Here lies all you could ever want." Before Lian appeared visions of wealth, chests overflowing with gold, gemstones larger than his fists, and a map that could bring him eternal fame. For a moment, he faltered, tempted by the treasures that could make him a legend. But then he remembered his village's suffering. "No amount of gold can heal the land or the people," he said firmly. The guardian smiled, its scales dimming. "You have passed. True wealth lies in selflessness." A fragment of the core emerged from the sands, glowing faintly, and Lian continued his journey. The Shrine of Fear. Deep within the ashen forest, Lian entered a shrine cloaked in shadows. The Guardian of Fear, a shape-shifting specter, loomed over him. To claim the fragment, you must face what terrifies you most. Lian was suddenly engulfed in visions of his worst fears, being lost and forgotten, his village destroyed, and failing in his mission. The shadows whispered his insecurities, growing louder and more overwhelming. Panicking, Lian closed his eyes, but then he remembered Elder Myra's words, "Balance comes from confronting, not avoiding." He opened his eyes and faced the shadows. "I may be afraid, but I will not let fear control me," he declared. The specter dissolved into light. Bravery is not the absence of fear, but the strength to face it. The next fragment appeared, illuminating his path. The Shrine of Bravery. The third shrine stood atop a towering cliff. The Guardian of Bravery, clad in golden armor, wielded a flaming sword. "To earn this fragment, you must leap into the unknown," it said, pointing to a chasm below. Lian hesitated, staring into the endless void. Every instinct told him to turn back. But he remembered his purpose, to restore balance to Ianera and save his home. Gathering his courage, he stepped off the edge. Instead of falling, he soared, carried by a glowing bridge that appeared beneath him. The Guardian smiled. True courage lies in trusting the unseen and embracing risk. The third fragment joined the others. The Shrine of Compassion. The final shrine lay in a quiet meadow, where the Guardian of Compassion awaited. She was serene, with flowing robes and eyes like a calm sea. "Compassion is the greatest strength," she said. "To claim this fragment, you must heal another's pain." Lian noticed a wounded deer nearby, its leg caught in brambles. He hesitated, unsure if he could help, but approached gently. He freed the deer, bandaged its wound with cloth from his tunic, and stayed until it could stand again. The Guardian smiled. "Kindness heals not only others but yourself." The final fragment appeared, completing the ethereal core. Restoration of balance. With all fragments gathered, Lian returned to the central altar of Ianera. As he placed the pieces together, the core blazed with light, sending waves of energy across the land. Rivers flowed, trees blossomed, and life returned. The guardians appeared before him one last time. You have restored balance, not by destroying vices but by harmonizing them with virtues. Greed, fear, and courage all have their place, when guided by compassion and wisdom. Lian returned to his village, no longer doubting his worth. He became a leader who taught his people to embrace both their strengths and weaknesses, creating a harmonious community. Moral of the story: balance is the key to life. Strength comes not from erasing flaws but from understanding and harmonizing them with virtues. Fear can guide, bravery can inspire, and compassion can heal, but only together can they bring true harmony. Recognizing and embracing all aspects of ourselves leads to growth, resilience, and a brighter future.